You're muted, Aron.
I wonder how long I've been muted.
There you go. There you go.
Because you got here.
Yeah. So essentially, yes. I mean, there are some explanations that really are seemingly unnecessarily complex, but for the most part, I would buy into that. Yes.
Why?
Why?
Yeah. Why?
I find that it's the simplest answer.
It works
most often is correct. And when I say simple, I don't mean like the
no.
comparison of,
You just circled yourself there. You said
how do I do
you
that?
find it works most often, so it's simplest because it works most often because it's simplest. So you just did a roundabout.
That's not
okay.
What I
Go
said.
ahead. Go ahead.
I said most often.
Why do
the simplest answer most often turns out to be correct, but as I said before, there
How
are
do you
occasions.
know that?
What?
How do you know that?
How do I know that the simple answer is most often correct?
Yes.
The one, and to be specific, what we're talking about is not that an answer that requires a great deal of complexity, but an answer that requires a whole bunch of contrived assumptions added to it, right? So we don't need to add a whole bunch of assumptions. If the simple answer works, the simple answer is probably correct. We don't have to imagine a whole great big conspiracy of Illuminati reptiles and all like that to explain what's going on.
I never conspiracy Illuminati reptiles, but whatever. Yeah, sure. I just want to know why you put that in your stock of axioms. Like when you look at the world,
that we don't need to make unnecessary assumptions to add on to relatively simple explanations or explanations that can be demonstrated to be accurate without those additional erroneous and superfluous assumptions.
Oh, well, you're assuming that they're both erroneous and
if they're not necessary, they're not necessary, right? If you have an explanation that works without evoking a whole bunch of additional, let's just call them additional assumptions, you already have an answer that works. Why assume a bunch of other things on top of it?
Well, there is no absolute reason to do so. However, science answers to the data, which means that the data could point you in a direction that is more complex. Whereas you're like, if you want to go to monism, all is one, right? That's the simplest explanation. It doesn't require anything added on to it.
I somehow suspect that's not correct.
I think I'm going to agree with Aron. At the first, I agree with Aron.
Think about you, Jason. I'm sorry to do that, but it just didn't work. All right. I have no idea what you're talking about, and it's just jumping all over the place. And I
actually do know what he's talking about. It's just not right. That's all.
I had
Tell me
6
why.
hours. I had 6
Tell
hours.
me why, Steve.
Well, basically, when you're dealing with something like idealistic monism, or the idea that well, first of all, I don't believe that we're in the mind of God. If you're trying to suggest something like that, but when we're talking about philosophy, we're talking about parsimony. The way the Occam razors work, or the law of parsimony, is that when you have two equally explanatory and predictive hypotheses, you choose the one with the less assumptions. You don't unnecessarily multiply the amount of assumptions you have in any kind of hypotheses. So in order to have a competing hypothesis to something, you need something that's equal explanatory power. And this is one thing I do agree with Aron on. God does not give you any explanation for shit or anything like that. And I know you're theist, and you're not projecting that, but you're saying that monism would be a viable position, and it's not, because that is not something that explains a damn thing. This is one argument I have with theists. I don't think the God postulate explains anything. Same reason why I don't think the argument from contingency explains anything. It's a non-explanatory, quote, explanation. It doesn't do anything. Aron, is that? I don't want to speak for you, but would you agree on that?
Yeah,
God doesn't really explain anything.
Well, yeah, I've often. Well, this
Okay,
is the crux of my favorite axiom. Is that religion or science doesn't know everything. Religion doesn't know anything. That when you the God of the gaps explanation, whatever science can't explain is somehow explained by God. When magic isn't an explanation of anything, I don't know, therefore I know, is what you're saying. Well, it's not necessarily what you're saying; it's what the theist is saying by making that argument.
Right.
Yeah, that's why I'm an atheist. What I want to do now is we're 30 minutes in. I want to call Kyle out for being. Yeah, I want to call Kyle out for being a punk. Call you out for being a punk ass bitch because you were trying to shut this shit down before it even got fucking started. Wow. Now we're getting in to what
he
really
invited you.
Well, wait, I think you just took the gloves off and would smack Kyle.
Go ahead and talk your shit. Go ahead and talk your shit.
David,
Let
will
me
you mute him for a second?
finish.
No, you're not going to finish.
No, by all means.
Here's what you are. Here's what you are, Jason. You're the equivalent of a human kazoo. You have a design and you make a lot of noise, but it's not really coming out to anything. What you're doing right now is you're trying to. It's an age-old tactic. You're trying to push the performance that you're bringing tonight off on me because I'm the one that took you to task for not saying anything. If Steve had have done it, it would be Steve who was the punk ass bitch. I mean, and I get that. Like it's just the way that it is. But I'm not going to sit here and let you waste our time, especially not Orange time, bloviating about shit that doesn't make any sense. You sound like you're drunk. I'm just being honest with you. You sound like you're drunk, and maybe you had one too many to calm the nerves down. I don't know that happens. So you can go ahead and you can say that I'm a punk ass bitch, and I'm just going to laugh at you because the arguments that I heard from you for the past 30 minutes was a punk ass bitch. If you want to be honest,
I didn't hear an argument.
Even better. So
yeah, I don't think I heard an argument either, to be honest with you. So
this is on you, Jason. I'm sorry to tell you this, but you can call me all the names that you want to. This is on you. This is your fault. I invited you,
Jason.
I've been nothing but respectful to you, and this is on you, buddy. I'm sorry, but it's on you.
Yeah, and Kyle is correct, Jason. This is the first time, and probably the only time in my life, where the debate is so one-sided that I won with only the other person speaking when I didn't have to say a thing.
Yeah. So we're going to say goodbye to you now, Jason. Hate that it turned out that way, but yeah, that's the way it is.
I am too.
And I would like to. I guess for I guess we could.
That's the funny thing is, you can cut me off,
right?
But I'm still talking.
We can't, trust me.
Sure.
No, we
can't. That's an example right there. You said I can cut you off, but I'm still talking. What does that mean?
The software we have allows us to do a lot of things.
Look. What's ultimately really sad about this, Jason, is that you actually are very you're intelligent. I've watched your videos. Like you have stuff to say and you have opinions. But the Jason that I'm watching right now is not the one that I talked to in setting up this debate. I mean, it's just not. And you trying to push the blame off on the people who are in this call who have worked to get you here, and you wanted to talk to Aron because you look up to Aron. Saying derogatory things towards me isn't going to help you out on that aspect of it.
Let me ask you a question then.
Sure.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Why wouldn't you let it go on? If you like dumpster fires.
I like dumpster
fire.
Right.
This isn't a dumpster fire. This is just a low-level tragedy. I mean, This is one of those coming-of-age movies where you come to that scene that nobody wants to. Says me. I'm the one still saying it. This is one of those coming-of-age movies where you come to the embarrassing scene and you don't want to watch it anymore.
What is that? An appeal to your own authority? Come on, bro.
Start calling out fallacies.
You're better than that.
Jason, you are in no means to call out fallacies. Okay.
I'm still the one talking. I'm still the one talking. That's what he said.
You're talking because we're allowing you to.
Look,
You do understand that, right?
I do understand that, Steve.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to
I
suggest.
do understand that.
I'm going to make
good.
2 suggestions. One,
Right
I'm not talking to Jason anymore. Jason needs to go sober up.
All right.
Jason
Bye,
needs to
Jason.
go have some coffee. And I want everybody to notice that I told somebody to go sober up. And I'm drinking like 11.8% from a big old pint bottle, and I'm telling somebody else to go sober up. I suggest 2 things. One, I'd like you guys to arrange another debate with Kent Hovind and Jaronism, because I think that would be fucking hysterical. I want to see.
That'd be division by 0,
that
dude.
debate. What?
That'd be like division by
say?
0.
Would it be great? I still think it'd be absolutely great. To have Kent Hovind have to use science for the first time ever in his life in a position where he could actually win.
Aron,
I would have to pull for
watch?
Kent in that debate, though. I would have to pull for Kent in that debate.
I would too. Did you happen to watch
Wouldn't
Kent
it be great?
and Mr. Intelligent Design, Aron? Ever see that one?
No, not Mr. Intelligent Design.
No, that actually happened.
Because
but let me tell you something. That actually happened, and it was so bad. Kent left. Kent thought that he was so bad. He didn't understand him. Kent, this is too crazy even for me, and he left.
Yeah, well, that's Mr. Intelligent Design. He's a mental case. You know, it maybe if somebody who's playing a character on being incompetent, I don't know. I would like to think that nobody's really that bad. But with Jaronism being that the primary thing that Jaronism argues about is the reason that you believe in a flat earth is because you need to believe in God. Well, if you already believe in God, well, then you've taken away the reason to believe in a flat earth, right? So that negates Jaronism's argument. So if you pit him up against Kent Hovind, and now Kent Hovind has to argue from the scientific position for the shape of the earth, and how can he do that? Kent's never done science before. He just declares himself to be this great scientist. So I'm telling you, that would be a really brilliant debate. I would love to see that. That would be a huge fucking show.
Can I tell you something? I actually brought that up to before we approached you the first time about doing a discussion with Kent. I actually talked to Kent about doing a flat Earth debate, and he won't do it. He won't entertain the idea of talking to a flat earther.
Do you know
why?
Just because he doesn't know enough to actually know the Earth is round. He doesn't know enough science to actually outwit and out-science a flat Earth.
I think it's just that he doesn't take it seriously.
He preaches young Earth creationism. He's talking about taking flat Earth seriously. Really?
I think that if Jaronism and Kent Hovind were to actually agree to a debate, we should get G-Man to moderate that shit.
Yeah, right. Steve or I won't be on that. That's too much. That's too much.
Yeah, we can't take that level.
Didn't I suggest?
How about G-Man's cat?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did, Aron. Aron suggested for him.
Fine. If Steven Kyle won't host it, Aron Raw and I will host it.
Good.
Well, what happened was Aron did suggest G-Man would host it, and I brought it up to G-Man with sincerity. I was actually asking him with sincerity that if he wanted to do it, and he just didn't understand what I was saying to him for some reason. His cat understood the topics better than G-Man did. So,
right.
Yeah. Because
what was suggestion number 2, sir?
Well, the B side of both of those records. I mean, well, let's try a somewhat lesser debate where we have Mr. Intelligent Design versus Nephilim Free, and I think that would be mildly amusing too.
Oh, man.
It would be a big draw. It'd be more like a scientific experiment, and Special Olympian boxing would be kind of what that would be.
No, Nephilim won't come on here. By the way, we're not elite enough for him.
Have you ever heard of Rose Patton, Aron?
No.
Okay. Now, see, Steve, that would be. I
thought you liked Aron. What happened? Why would you do that to him?
Oh, you love Rose. Don't even play.
I love Rose. I do love Rose. She's crazy as a freaking. I love her.
So Chris is here. Chris is here. Chris is an atheist that he does a lot of scholar work with the Bible. He studies the Bible as an atheist. But he said yesterday he thought you were coming on the. Was it yesterday you thought he was coming on, Chris? He wanted to meet you, so we figured this would be a good time. He can pop in and say hello. I guess since the show's that was the quickest body addition to the body count that Aron has